Okay, I have a special guest today. The gentleman's name is Jay Johnson. He's a barber. He's been cutting hair for about 4 years, but he's been inspired to do so. But the thing is about Jay is about to start a podcast. So we're about to dive into the equipment, his thoughts, his process, his goal, where he want to be. But after we leave this, I'm gonna go over to his place and try to help him set up or give him some ideas of what he could get that maybe not break the bank. Again, Jay has just started out with his podcast and I'm excited about it. Jay, please introduce yourself.
Hello, you guys. My name is Jay Johnson. I'm a master barber at the age of 22. I'm a double licensed professional and originally licensed in the states of Louisiana and Georgia. I've been in the beauty industry for about 4 years now, as you heard before, and I'm just looking to go into a new space with my career and my expertise.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so your podcast. Let's talk about the podcast first. Um, what's the what's the goal of your podcast?
So the goal is to be able to educate and inspire um, whoever's honestly listening. But my focus is specifically young black men. I want to be able to push a message to them, so I'm gonna start doing like communal work once the when it makes sense in time, and also giving them a visual as to the work or the services I provide for people who would be looking for the same type of services or the same
Awesome,
type of therapy. Yeah.
awesome, awesome. Okay, okay. So let me ask you this: within your podcast, it's going to be audio and visual,
Yes.
correct? Okay. The setup that you're thinking about using, and correct me if I'm wrong. When you told me about it, I started thinking about it, and I don't want to put my goals on you. I want to try to help you bring your dreams, your desires to fruition.
Exactly.
Are you thinking? I was thinking. Let me say it that way. That you would probably have someone in the chair,
Mhm.
um, and the camera will be pointed to you and the person in the chair. You may have clippers in your hand or something. Um, we have to mic you up, of course, and have enough lighting. Do you have any windows in the shop?
Not in my suite, but I do
Okay,
have windows in the shop.
okay. So you're in an area that's not really accessible to daylight.
Exactly. But I
Okay,
have a lot of lighting in the suite.
okay, okay. If you had to guess, how much space would you say we're working with?
Not a lot of square, maybe like 100 square feet, 90.
Okay, okay, awesome, awesome. So, do your clients wait in your suite, or do they have to wait in a waiting room to come back there, or how does that work?
So we have two waiting areas, but in my suite there is enough room for two clients to wait. So I don't invite a big party to come get a service by me.
Okay,
So typically I charge by the time. So if I have two people coming, that's an hour service,
okay,
and that's enough for me to sit two people down.
awesome,
They come together.
awesome. Okay, so let's. Oh, first of all, I met Jay at
The podcast
the
summit.
podcast summit.
Yes,
So if you hear in the background noise, it's a lot going on here.
exactly.
But we've we're here with Ecam,
Hmm.
which is part of the sponsorship, and sure. But yeah, let's thanks for supporting the podcast, which
Most
allowed
definitely.
us to do this.
We appreciate
Um,
you guys.
okay, but back to it. So, what do you use now? What are you thinking about using? What equipment do you have that's available for you right now?
The only equipment I have available for me right now is a Canon 80D. But I know that I'm not really leaning towards using that, if I'm being honest.
Okay,
Just because the space wise, I'm really meticulous about how I do certain things,
okay,
and I don't like the bulk of things. So like even when you approach my station, it's like very neat and like put together and small. I don't like big things on my station, so I was really considering using my iPhone for content
okay,
and adjust the format and the settings in it to be able to shoot content. And I was also considering shooting for more than one angle too. So if I have to pull the camera out, it just would be in a space to where it's not in the way since it's so big.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any editing skills?
Very none, zero to little.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to try to pick out a system for you or a process, or start a process for you that you can possibly have multiple camera angles,
Hmm.
um, record long form content, and in my mind, correct me if I'm wrong, since it's going to be long form, you have a platform such as YouTube or, your podcast as far as audio only.
Hmm.
But as we've learned, you'll take some of those clips and put it on social media,
Exactly.
correct? Okay. So I'll show you how to set the camera up so that you can grab those clips off of there without it being, um, needing a camera at one ratio, meaning landscape, and one at portrait.
The
You
format,
can
correct?
use, yes, you can use both of them still in landscape, combine the images or the videos, and go from there.
Okay.
Okay, so the tripod, you said you don't like a lot of stuff. I heard clutter.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying, clutter?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you would be opposed to tripods being all over the place. Is that what I'm?
Yes, it wouldn't be convenient for both me and my client.
Okay, that's
So
fair. That's fair enough. Do you have the option of drilling into the walls,
yeah, so we can do some.
wall
Yeah.
mounted?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, okay. Um, are you familiar with microphones?
No.
Okay. Well, let me just offer this right here. It doesn't matter if you're using your camera or if you're using a phone.
Hmm.
The biggest difference is going to be if you use your phone, you're going to have to make sure you have a lot of light,
Exactly.
a lot of light, for you to get that 4K crisp image that you're thinking about, that you're wanting.
Hmm.
Um, if you don't have a lot of light, I would really recommend that you do use that camera. Okay. Um, so on your list, it will be some light options. Since we don't have a lot of depth to use lighting, and we need the lights in a certain area so that we can kind of get highlights in our eyes. Because when you're looking at somebody, if their eyes are all black, and this is it's subliminal, but it's been proven, if it's all black, they kind of look dead.
Yeah.
You want that highlight, kind of like what you see. I'm looking at the back of your phone. I see this light in your eyes. Also, you don't want to have it where the light's above your face and it's going to cause you to have shadows in
Hmm.
here. You know, everybody look at Jay right now. If you look at Jay and you see across from his eyebrows, you see the shadow of his hat. Now, if we put a light above him, that light's gonna cast a bigger shadow across his face where you won't be able to see his eyes, and that's gonna make a harder time. You're gonna have a harder time trying to connect with him on that way. So we're gonna need our lights not so high up to give us
The
that
intimacy.
crisp look.
Okay.
Yes,
Then. Okay.
yes. Um, Microphones. Usually, this is gonna be a one-on-one type conversation. Is that what I'm hearing?
As far as the podcast go,
Yes, sir.
yes, most definitely. It's gonna be an intimate session, ranging between 45 minutes to an hour and a half.
Okay.
Um, and there is a lot of lighting in the suite, but I want to be able to find something that will be able to help minimize the sound in the suite too, because the walls aren't just wallproof yet. Yeah, they're not soundproof just yet. But once I close my suites up, it does help minimize the outside noise.
Okay. So, are you handy on building anything or anything like
I'm
that?
fairly handy.
Okay. So, one of the easiest ways to remedy that and have it to kind of look artistic, or give it some type of flavor style,
Mhm.
is to actually take ceiling tiles.
That the things that nail into the wall. Oh, the
Literally
ceiling
these
tiles,
ceiling
like literally.
tiles that
Okay.
you would see in a building, in a school or whatever, particularly the ones that have the yellow insulation on the backside.
Okay.
You can get those, wrap them in a fabric, and that fabric could be a solid color according to your style, or it could be, um, a fabric, as long as the fabric allows air to transport, to go through it, a couple of those in there will actually stop the sound from bouncing off the walls, causing it to be such an echo
Is there a way that we could put those out of the way and
on
still
the
get the
walls.
same? Yeah.
Okay, so when you say out of the way,
So the suite is like a shell.
okay,
You know how like when you take the tile out of a building. If I was to take the tile out of this, you'll see the metal
yes,
lining. Yeah,
uh
it's
huh.
like a shell.
Okay, what about your walls?
Yeah, my wall is like it's a brick wall, and then it's like sheetrock built
Okay,
out front.
okay.
Yeah,
So what I'm saying, and I'm not sure if I'm understanding you correctly. So you don't want to put them on the wall.
I can. I just want to have them out of the way. I don't want them displayed in like what I'm gonna be.
So
Yeah,
okay, if
I
I'm
think you
if I'm
understand.
understanding you, I'm sorry.
I think you understand what I'm saying. Go ahead.
Okay, if I'm understanding you correctly, so if right now, if the camera was pointed at you like what we're looking at now, you don't want these panels to be in your background.
Exactly.
They don't have to be.
Okay.
They can be on a different wall.
Okay.
All we're trying to do is stop the sound. The way sound travel, it bounces off the walls,
Hmm.
and when it bounces back, you get a reverb, a delay, an echo, and what you're trying to do is cut that down.
Okay.
The more slap echo you have, the higher and the longer it's going to be that it's going to ring. A lot of times you don't hear it because your brain is adjusted to the sound,
Hmm.
will adjust to the sound and cut it out. But when you do a recording, you hear it
Everything.
amplified,
Exactly.
and it's kind of hard to not hear it. So the angle that where the cameras are, let's say it that way, probably put it where the cameras are
Okay.
because you don't want the cameras to be. I'm not gonna say you don't want.
Visible at all.
Yeah, we may not want the cameras to be visible. So behind the cameras,
Okay. That's
if we
smart.
can get a certain percentage of the walls softened or whatever, and it could either be some of the furniture can happen. You may not even need that,
Hmm.
but as long as you're not getting a lot of leakage from the outside and you're not getting a lot of reverb from you talking,
Hmm.
um, you should be fine.
Okay.
Now, you will be cutting hair at the same time while this is going on, or no?
Yes, I will.
Okay, so we'll have to just work out how you do the audio and have the mic, I mean the clippers buzzing at the same time.
I was
Um,
considering so for content purposes, I'm gonna be using the same camera setup,
uh huh.
but for podcasting, I want to do a different microphone setup as far as like the sound. But for just content wise, I want to do an ASMR. So I actually want to capture that sound of the clippers cutting on, or the hair brushing through the hair, or me spraying the spritz. I want to capture that sound.
Okay.
So kind of
Okay.
like going both ways with it.
That's not a problem. The only concern that without getting into a lot of mixing of the sound of the
Hmm.
audio is that that microphone. Say for instance, you're using since you're supported the podcast summit, but they didn't support me. Okay. So this is a ceremony.
Okay.
You can take this right here, and you see where the microphone goes into. You can clip it onto um, somewhere onto the
The cape.
cape. Thank
Hmm.
you, the
Yeah.
cape. Um, and you may have to just fold the clothes and put it here. Now, but again, when you start, you know, click, and it picks up, it's gonna have that sound. And as long as you're not right here, giving them a shave and keeping the microphone, that's not going to work. That's
Okay.
going to overload the mic, and majority of what your audience is going to hear is going to be
The
the,
clipper.
the clippers. So you just have to remember to
Like.
move this,
Okay.
periodically according to what they're doing.
Okay.
Um, you may. I don't know if I would really recommend that you use a shotgun mic.
This is
No,
a shotgun mic that
no,
we're using it.
no. No, this is a shotgun mic,
Okay.
and ultimately this would go on your camera or thereby, or it doesn't have to go in the camera, but you will have a cable that goes from here to the camera to
Okay.
record it. And I would recommend that you do it that way. Make sure you record directly into camera because you don't want to have to come back and sync the audio. Because if you're not careful, you have it where the mouth is like the old Chinese karate movies. The mouth is moving, but what they're saying isn't lining up um,
Their
with
words.
their
Yeah.
with their words. But as far as um, what you're recording on and where it's going, either one, the Canon, what was it, the
ADD.
80D,
Mhm.
that's fine. iPhone, fine. Android is fine.
Okay.
It's really going to come down to how are you going to edit it, the video, and move it on. What are you using for? Do you have a game plan of how you're going to edit yet?
Yeah. So I was considering using AI to like chop it up.
Okay.
Um, but I feel like when you're saying edit, you meaning like adjust the lighting and the sound quality,
No, no.
So you just talking about the clips.
Okay, so when we go to your place, I plan on helping you to the point where you set your camera up or your phone, and you have enough lights in the right places, and you can edit it. Just cut it where you need to cut it. If you need anything needs to be cut out
Mhm.
for whatever reason that I don't know your guidelines for your podcast yet. Whatever you need to cut off at the beginning, the end, or in the middle, or whatever. If you have to pause it and start it back, you're gonna want to put it all into one file, one format, um, one file so you can upload it.
Okay.
Be it on your phone, a computer, or whatever. So ultimately, what I'm asking you is, what's your workflow? And if you don't know it, that's fine. We can work through that.
So you can't expound on workflow. You talking about like the position that I'm working on,
Gladly.
like the working
No,
in.
no, 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 no. Your workflow being, how do you plan on taking it from camera or phone to
Content.
uploading to your platforms?
Um,
I mean, the finished product to be uploaded.
Finished product. So I mean, that'll go back to the conversation we had prior to now. That would be editing it down,
Okay.
and making sure that it is it's in a format or like a setting to where it'll go good on the platforms that I'm publishing it on, whether it's a TikTok or Instagram. And I have to do more research on the type of content that they take, as far as like the settings or the quality of the video they accept. And I believe they all are 1080 HP, but I'm not.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. And so just let you know that 1080 um is a ratio for the camera, which is X and Y. Back to
Horizontal.
school, it's the height and width of the image.
Okay.
Um, so okay, so say for instance, you cut my hair.
Hmm.
You clean me up, you sharpen me up. What's your game plan of what's your next step in your mind? What's your next step?
On how to
You match
capture it.
record it. I mean, you stop the recording because we've recorded the content. What do you plan on doing next?
I plan on recording as much as I can throughout the day, and then after I'm done with all the recording I'm gonna do, then go back and put it into a format to where I feel like it's presentable, where I feel like it'll be engaging
Okay.
or interesting for someone to
Okay.
watch.
Okay. Let me interrupt you right there. Okay. So you may have cut several people head that day.
Hmm.
No, you have cut several people heads. Would all of your clients allow you to record?
I get consent.
Okay.
I put myself in my client's shoes all the time. Whether
Okay.
it's taking a payment, the way I'm punctual, like the consistency, the work, the service itself. If I wouldn't agree with it, then I'm not gonna force it upon them. So I just ask about their
Okay.
preferences.
Fair. This is part of your workflow. Okay.
Mm.
So now, after you cut my hair, you sharpen me up, and you mash stop on the record. What's your next step?
Uh, my Honestly, as a barber, it's just to clean and sanitize my equipment.
Okay. No,
Uh,
that's fair. That's
yeah.
fair. That's fair. Okay. So what's your next step as far as the video is concerned?
The video is concerned,
Hmm.
it'll be to make sure that I have enough storage on the SD card I'm using and battery to produce more content throughout the day
Okay.
or potential content.
So you have content on your phone,
Mhm.
and I know a couple of people who love creating content, but they don't go past creating content to edit it to upload it. How do you get to stop recording and this content because you've cut, let's say, 20 people heads that day?
Hmm.
5 people allowed you to record.
Hmm.
What do you do with those 5 recordings now?
I will make a plan on how to push it. Just because I want to upload five different videos
Okay.
at one time.
Okay. I'm so glad we're having this conversation.
Hmm.
So bear with me, okay? Because I'm asking something, but I'm not getting the answer I'm looking for.
I feel
Okay.
like so.
Okay. No, no, no. And thank you for this. Okay. Okay. So you have the video.
Hmm.
How do you get it to polish the video? What do you need to do to polish the video? What's your game plan to polish the video?
All right, so let me ask a question back to get better understanding
Great,
of the
great, great.
question. Is it for like a look or an aesthetic wise, or just like the video format, or is it the
It's
process behind
thank you,
the
thank you.
process?
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay.
Okay.
So when you edit your video, according to how you're editing, that video is going to come out in a certain format.
Okay.
Let's say YouTube, for example. YouTube will accept MP MP4s. I think it's format. So you remember a few years ago when music was being shared between people, it was MP3 files.
Yes.
So you know how music have different files for different music quality. Well, videos have different qualities. I mean, different files also,
Okay.
formats today, and certain platforms only accept certain types of
Formats.
formats.
Mhm.
So if you is something wrong with it?
I just seen the exposure go down. I'm gonna turn it right
Oh,
now. Yeah. There we go.
oh, thank you.
You're welcome. No
Um,
problem.
if um, if you're recording your video on a camera and you record, say, a raw video file,
Mhm.
you can upload that into certain softwares to manipulate it. So, say for instance, you're recording in 4K.
Mhm.
Well, 4K file is a huge file,
Mhm.
especially for an hour, an hour long, or but you may have a bunch of pauses that you may not want the audience to see.
Okay, so you saying the podcasting versus the content side? Like, how would I break it down?
No, no. How would you create the podcast? So, say for instance, let's take David,
Uh-huh.
for example. When he has his podcast come on, he has an intro and he does a verbal quick outro.
Mhm.
He also inserts commercials for his own self
Mhm.
within his podcast.
Mhm.
Um, how do you build that? How would you build that? How would you create that?
Honestly, I would just mean like if the wheel, like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I just
Okay, tell me.
do exactly what they're doing. Um, I would essentially like require my own commercials, like promote. It's kind of like what is it called? What's the word? I'm gonna be like, y'all should get that word. What is the word? Like if I'm selling a product under my business, right?
Uh
So if
huh.
I'm selling brushes or combs, I'll be in the midst of my podcast and I'm like, uh, I warn you, like, hey, the such and such is coming up. It won't interrupt the video. It'll be such and such. I don't know how we'll do it, but it's gonna be me essentially saying like, hey, use this code, you get certain percent off on this brush or this comb, uh, and however I was, push it, and then I let you know like, hey, we came back to the video.
Okay, so workflow process. You're absolutely right, and you get to a point where you see, you know what? I I have this promo where I have, if you bring your child in who is elementary school grade, and they've made all A's,
Exactly.
they get a half off or a free haircut.
haircut.
I'm not saying okay.
Someone's calling you.
Um, you can stop it.
Stop this. You
Yeah,
got the
no,
pause
no,
on. Oh, in it.
just yeah. That's my niece.
I'm sorry, niece.
That's my niece.
Okay, I'm sorry, niece.
See, yeah. So you see some of the issues you can have with using your cell phone to
Most
record, right?
definitely.
And if you're using the best camera facing you, you don't see that.
That's why you have a working a business phone. No one should call this phone
But
while I'm
I
working.
noticed you did that. I noticed you did that. That was very smart. Okay, so um, okay, so let me ask you this then. That's the you have the father come in, pay for their haircut. Their child comes in, and they have all A's. They get a free haircut. You can record that video one time,
hmm
and you can insert that same video into multiple podcasts.
Multiple podcasts, multiple platforms.
That's through editing.
Mhm.
So now you're at the point where, at least for me, I would use either iMovie or DaVinci Resolve.
Are these like mixers?
These are it's
Softwares?
softwares on a laptop or softwares that on computers. I can say it that way.
For editorial purposes?
Yes.
Okay.
Now the iPhone has iMovie on it so that you can edit the video on your phone.
Okay.
Um, and that's what I was really trying to get to is how do you plan on editing your video? You know.
I have no plan right now. I guess that would be the
Okay,
plan.
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Um, are you a computer person or are you a cell phone person?
I'm learning tech,
Oh,
so
that's fair.
I'm
That's
not
fair.
the computer. Well, let me put better words into the atmosphere. I am a computer and phone guy because if I put the intentionality towards it, I'm going to get it.
Okay,
So it's a matter
so
of someone's teaching me right.
okay, I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. So let me ask you this then: which direction would you prefer to move into first?
Phone is more
Totem.
convenient.
Okay.
I can do that anywhere.
Okay. Now, all transparency, I'm a computer person.
I don't
I'll
mind.
record. No, 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 no. I'm not saying that you need to. That is not what I'm saying. I'm definitely not saying that.
Mhm.
As we were just talking a few minutes ago, I still like to write stuff down on paper. On paper, it helps me to declutter my mind. But nonetheless, I'm telling you that I like the laptop editing because I have to do a little digging to help you to find a more efficient software on the phone. Okay.
Okay, so I do use my tablet when I go on like videos for my Instagram content. I use like CapCut.
Okay.
I don't want to do that on my phone because like certain displays on the tablet or computer is different from the phone, and I don't
Yeah.
like how
See.
cluttered it be on the phone.
Okay.
But the convenience of me working and simultaneously trying to push something like that,
Uh huh.
I will probably work more off a phone more often. But I would prefer a computer if that's answer your question better. For
It
convenient
answered
purposes.
for convenience purposes.
Convenient purposes, I would use my phone, but like I would
Okay,
prefer
that's
a
where
computer.
let's go there.
Yeah.
And again, what I want to do is I want to help you get to where you want to be. I don't want to put you where I am,
I want to
if that
learn
makes
both.
sense.
I
Okay.
want to learn both because I never
Well,
know what flexibility might
that,
come up in my
that's fair
life.
enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. So I'll help you with that also. Um, and really, our other biggest thing, really, man, is going to be lighting.
Exactly.
It's really going to be lighting. Okay.
I give you a visual of how the suite look.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. So this is a photo I put in a mono kind of vibe. That's two square
Uh huh.
lights, but we do have two lights overhead and around the suite. So you see lights going all the way around the bar lights, and we have some soft lights ahead of us too. I can adjust. Let me see if I can get a photo. Uh,
He showed me pictures on his
I am. I
on
don't know if
his.
I can see. That's art by Jiggy Korean. I gotta shout out my boy Jiggy Korean, man.
Okay.
Dope
Okay.
artist in Atlanta. But see, you see the lights.
Hey,
That's
give me his information and I'll share it in the
most
link.
definitely.
Okay.
He got an art exhibition coming up on the 26th here in Atlanta as well. So
And
yeah, free.
his name is what?
Jiggy Korean. That's his artist
Jiggy
name.
Queen. Okay,
But
awesome.
it's Michael Coleman, I believe.
Okay, okay.
And yeah, that's the piece he got in my suite. But these lights are above me as I work. It's
So I'm
two
not
pair of those.
seeing
right here.
Is it it's a rectangular,
Rectangular lights.
so it's almost like a, I would use that to shoot through, almost like a ring light.
Yeah, but it's above. Like it's like hanging above. It's like kind of like this right here. And I
Okay.
can adjust it to where it's dimmer, brighter. And these lights are like above us too. But if you stand in this more so like eye level, let me see if I can get a video of this. That might be better, a better visual.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So do you know the angle that you, where's the door?
The door's right here behind me.
Okay, so is that where you're shooting at right now? Is that where you want the camera to be?
No, just because it got too much in there. I don't want to. I feel like if I'm watching it, I would be looking at his background as opposed to what he's actually trying to show me. Me as a person. So like I'm gonna be looking at like why he got all this stuff on this station? Like why his broom
Can I
not put
see,
up?
can I see that again?
It's like why he got all this stuff on the station? Why his broom not put up? Like
Okay, so how far over is that mirror? Does that mirror go the whole length of the wall?
it goes the whole station, not the whole wall, but majority of the wall. So you could just hit the whole wall.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll look at it and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Now, if I may ask, if you're willing to share,
Mhm.
you're a grown man. You can say no. What would you say the, let's call it imaginary budget would be?
It depends on what it is that we would have to get for me to create a budget because and the quality of it as well.
Okay, not being in love with gear.
Lever, not being in love with gear.
So there's a thing called gas, gear acquisition syndrome. Some people just like to buy gear, and some people equate gear with movement.
I'm not that type of person.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like I don't need the name brand stuff. I don't.
What's the quality? What's the quality of the video that you're looking for? Are we at a place that we're starting and we're willing to grow? Because
Exactly.
the thing is, man,
I'm a patient person.
we
I'm willing to
we
grow.
can use bare minimum equipment, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and we can go from there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take. A lot of times you hear people say it doesn't matter about the gear.
It does.
It's according to what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a lot of what the person does too, but
Yeah,
the gear
yeah.
like
It's
I could fade a nice haircut with Walmart clippers, but I prefer my
okay.
I
Okay.
prefer my Cocos or my Babies on walls.
Okay. Well, let's look at it from a cell phone versus
Camera.
your camera. You can use your cell phone and get a great image,
But the quality of the camera
but
is
if you don't have enough light in there, that picture is gonna be grainy. That video is gonna be grainy.
a lot of
You can
noise.
adjust your camera a lot further down because the sensor size is just larger.
Okay.
So that'd be something that we'll look at. Now, you don't want to use a tripod. There are other gears, other pieces of equipment that we can get to.
Maybe like a wall mount.
Yeah.
Something out the way.
Mhm. Yep.
But I don't want nothing sitting on the floor at all.
And
I
that's
gotta get rid of stuff in my suite already.
that's perfectly fine. That the whole room is your room,
yeah,
correct?
it's my room.
You can mount it on the wall. If your camera, I don't remember if that camera has a flip out screen or
It
not.
does.
It does.
But I wouldn't be able to probably see it.
Well, all you want to use that for, man, is for composition,
Okay.
for the composition of your of your shot. It, we have a tendency to look at the camera. I mean, look at that monitor too much. So it's kind of like I'm looking at you now. You can tell I'm looking at the listener, but I'm looking this way because I'm actually looking at Jay, guys. Okay, I want to push my camera a little further back. If you can see that, you can see that by watch how this changes.
Oh, the exposure.
So you see how I'm pushing my camera back. Well, no, this line right here changes as I push back.
It gets lighter, correct?
Well, no, it just changes position. You can tell better by the parameter that I'm moving the camera than you can if you're just looking at me. So now, if you're looking at me, I don't change much in the video, but if you look at
It's
this
getting dimmer.
scene right here, you can tell it's changing.
I can see what you
You
mean.
see the difference?
The
Okay,
contrast.
but
It's getting lighter actually.
we can change. We can mount the camera or phone on the wall. And get a couple of brackets that allow you to adjust it, even if you put it in one place that's better for, say, the phone, and it may not be better for the camera.
Mm-hmm.
When you change to that, you can put a different bracket on there to adjust it.
Okay.
It's we're gonna start with what you have 1st,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and go from there. Easy peasy, no, no heart attack. And to be honest, man, in our conversation, I thought you were gonna need a lot more equipment. Truth be told, so like, to me, all you need are a couple of microphones.
Yeah.
The mount for the wall,
And camera
where to put it
position.
at. Yeah,
And then of course the tiles.
yeah. Well, maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
It's according to high sound.
Okay.
And an easy way to check that is actually go in there and just clap your hands. Yep. Yep.
Excuse me,
You
y'all.
were
I'm
you were
sorry
aware
that's
of
too
it
loud.
already. See,
Yeah.
and the longer that echo is,
The
the
more.
worse it will be as far as sound.
Okay.
Man, I appreciate it. Jay, man, I'm looking forward to it. Okay.
It's been a pleasure, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Most
Thank you.
definitely.